All right. So, everybody, I am here first with the great Caroline Williams. How you doing, Caroline?
I'm great. Thank you. Thank you
Uh,
for having me.
no, thank you for coming on. I mean, like I always, people who watch my channel, they know Texas Chainsaw 2 is a favorite movie of mine, and everything you've done. I mean, Hatchet 3, and then the Leprechaun 3, and you've been in so many just classic horror films, and that shows me from being an viewer all this time and a fan that you're so passionate about horror and about the genre and about your craft. And seeing you in this film was just a treat because I told you backstage I knew going into it you played those eccentric characters so well, and your character of Aunt Marion in this movie. He sees you when you're sleeping, which releases on Friday, right, November 1st.
November 1st. Yay.
Right, so
Yeah.
2 days.
It's one of the most, I love horror comedy number one, which
I
is
do
the
so.
reason I loved Hatchet 3 so very much, is because Adam Green does it so well.
Yeah.
Um, but the other part of it is uh, Charlie Steeds, the director, and David Lenik, who wrote
Mhm.
and stars, they gave me absolute carte blanche to take the character wherever I wanted to. And
Yeah.
from the time that I read it, she was so sort of Geraldine Page, you know,
Yeah.
Ruth Gordon, that kind of thing. And I thought, oh my God, I get to just kind of spin around and have fun and enjoy
It
myself.
it
And I
shows.
did.
It shows through the movie,
Thank
like,
you.
and thank you. I'm going to thank them too, but thank you all for sending a screener for so I could check it out because I really enjoyed this movie. There's a great suspense in it. There's a whole little plot of twists and turns that you don't see coming. They're all you guys do a great job. The performances are great. The characters are really fun, and like you said, horror comedies. I'm a big fan also, and there's a lot of great comedy and just witty stuff in this movie, including like a lot of good homages. I was saying to Silent Night, Deadly Night. Like when there's a scene that's very reminiscent of the grandpa scene in there, and it's pulled off very, very good, very, very
Yes.
well. Because there's movies, and yeah, I'm sure you've seen a bunch too, that they try putting homages into other films, and it feels so forced, or it doesn't feel organic, or like it belongs in the film or the script. All the great little references that David wrote in here, they all work very, very well, and they're very
I
satisfying to watch.
I thought so. He's very, very clever. He
Mhm.
puts some spin on the ball. If he's going to be doing homages and referring to making references to other films,
Yeah.
he's really going to make it work. He's going to be, a wink and a nod. And
Mhm.
and that's what I liked about it is it was very, very smart. The script
Yeah,
was very smart.
that was the big thing that stood out to me was the script. The first
Yeah.
thing that when it ended, I said, "What a great script." Like, that was
Yeah.
literally my words ending it. It was
Yeah.
very, very impressive.
Yeah. I thought it was perfect. David has a long-term relationship with Charlie Steeds.
That was something I was gonna ask them, yeah, I didn't know if they knew each
Yeah,
other.
they've known one another for a while. But I have a friend here in the US that went to the UK to shoot a film and ended up working with Charlie. And they hit it off like mad. And I would say probably it was close to a year ago, I guess, that my friend who had been in communication with Charlie but hadn't yet met him
Okay.
um, said, my friend Charlie Steeds is going to be doing this movie. He'd love for you to be in it. Why don't you get a look at An English Haunting? Because it's a really good movie and you'll get an idea of what kind of
Of
filmmaker he
his
is.
yeah, his style and everything.
It was gorgeous. And the thing is, he had no budget.
Yeah.
And the hallmark of a really great director is when they have no budget, what kind of
Mhm.
movie do they make?
Yeah.
And I was watching a documentary about Ivory Merchant, who did A Room with a View, and Remains of the Day. All these poncy fa 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 English films.
Yeah, yeah.
They never had money.
Yeah.
They never had a budget.
That's probably the most important thing is that if you can write a film to your budget, that's like more than half the battle. Because if you know what your budget is and you start writing stuff that you're not going to be able to pull off, like car explosions and stuff like that, you write yourself into a corner. So it really takes a lot of talent and
Sure.
organization to really know what your budget is and say, all right, I got to make sure, all right, this could work. I can make this work. All right, this might be outside of our budget range, to do this thing. And you could see that throughout. He sees you when you're sleeping. And he wrote that so well to the budget, which I don't know what it
Hmm.
was. I'll ask him. And I don't think we said when we started, but the rest are running late, but they will be here soon.
One of the funny things that happened with this film, you've got to meet all the challenges of a low budget film.
Yeah.
And one of the things that happened on this one is I had, previous to arriving at the location, they had been shooting. I was at
Where did they shoot it?
in
Where
New
was it shot?
York, right around
Oh,
Niagara
okay.
Falls, very
Oh, okay.
close to
Oh,
Niagara Falls. Such a charming little village.
yeah.
Literally, it's a village. It's
The
not even
house
a
is
town.
beautiful. Yeah, the house is beautiful.
And
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 when they're
and
walking
the
around,
lady, she's the woman who owned the home, has dedicated herself to trying to restore it in an authentic way,
oh wow,
and
that's great.
which can be very pricey given building materials and extras and you know you know
Absolutely.
all those things. um, I was flying in from Sioux City, Iowa, and my flight was diverted. I was supposed to land in Buffalo. I ended up
Okay.
landing in Cleveland because
How'd that
Buffalo
happen?
had fog.
Oh, okay. I
So
was gonna
we,
say, man, Buffalo's a while from Cleveland. I was
yeah,
wondering
it
how that
is. I had
happened.
to catch a couple of different flights. Sure enough, I land in Cleveland at 3 a.m. My
Yeah, okay.
flight from Cleveland to Buffalo takes off at 6 a.m. So that
Wow.
was a nightmare.
Oh
I
yeah.
arrive in Buffalo. We drive to the location. I basically stayed awake. They were going to try to shoot some stuff that afternoon.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, this thing, that thing, we ended up not doing it. But I was awake for about 24 hours or more.
Yeah, I mean,
And
and that always makes everything worse. And
oh,
on top of everything, sleep deprivation is not good.
and then woke up the next day with the flu. So
Oh man,
he
that's even
literally, they
worse.
had to shoot around me um, for 2 full days. And that's kind of scary.
Yeah.
That's a scary
I mean, that's a whole
thing,
bunch of punches thrown at you, one after another.
one after another. But Charlie kept his cool. He's
Yeah,
a very cool cat. He's seamless. He might be panicking. You're never going to know it. And
yeah,
David was a little bit more worried, I could see. But,
yeah,
we showed up, we started working. The flow was perfect with the other cast members.
absolutely.
And it was just a wonderful thing to be a part of. My enthusiasm for the project
Mhm.
way overtook any illness or weakness or anything. I had so
Yeah.
much enthusiasm for this movie and for the
Oh,
role.
oh, and like I said, it shows through the entire film, like the love that all of you had for the script, the characters, your performances, everything. I mean, all the dynamic between all of you guys as a family, which without giving any spoilers away, it's just we have a guy Chester. He had something bad happen in his past. And he ends up coming to his Aunt Marion, and she has been living in his old family house. And things start going crazy. I guess is the best way I could say it without giving too much away, right?
It
But
it gets
I
it gets pretty wacky. It gets pretty wacky.
absolutely, and very, very suspenseful and very cleverly written. And that's why I keep going back to the script. I mean, I can't highlight that enough. And your performance as Aunt Marion. Because what did it take? Did it take much to jump into that role, or is it at this point? It's just like I know exactly what I'm doing. Like I got this.
Well, I'm basically a Southerner anyway.
Yeah.
So I grew up in the deep South and Texas. So, and people from that part of the world, it's a very strange kind of mystical place with its own very unique sense of humor.
Mhm.
Basically, I'm playing a little puzzle of my family members, of the women that I grew up with.
Okay.
It was
Drawing
really pretty effort.
inspiration from them. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was so enjoyable. Like I said, I loved the setting. It was wonderful.
Mhm.
The weather started out being very, very warm, and it ended up becoming very, very cold.
When did
Um,
you guys shoot? When were you? What time of year were you guys shooting it?
it was September, so the
Okay.
seasons were only
Yeah.
beginning to make their shift, you know.
Hmm.
And I guess I was there on location for maybe a week,
Okay.
maybe a week.
That's not bad at all.
Um, yeah, and then you know came back to LA, but
Was there
it
anything you had to like shoot afterwards or anything that to fill in, or you just did knocked it all out in a week and that was it, done?
got everything done, all of my stuff.
So I figured,
Uh,
yeah,
they had to, like I said, they had to shoot around me, but they did it pretty effortlessly, and they were pretty, um, you know, they were very chill about it, which was great.
yeah. I mean, just from talking briefly with David and Charlie on, setting this up, they had nothing but amazing things to say about you, Lauren, everybody. Just said, and they're, the younger, the newer generation of filmmakers and stuff. So I mean, they look up to you just like I look up to you guys and all the horror legends in the genre. So I mean, they just said that it was just an absolute honor working with you guys because same thing said that you were just a blast, and that's what I knew going into watching this because I've seen you play not exact roles but similar roles here and there. So I once I saw the type of character in the true because I watched the trailer first, I said, "Oh, she's gonna kill it in this." And then as soon as you come out of that house and you just hi, and you just start going up to chest, I said, "There it is." I said, "That's exactly what I was expecting. Perfect." I said, and then it just continued throughout the rest of the movie. Was there anything that was hard like in the filming of that week, like hard scenes, or it seems like it was a pretty just quick and very successful shoot.
Mostly we were kind of shooting splits. We were doing some
Mhm.
daytime, but a lot of nighttime hours. So whenever you're shooting nights and, the weather had turned and had begun turning,
Yeah.
um, you kind of have to compensate. And I don't know. I enjoyed it so much. I had such a great time. I find it so hard to even think about a lot of the challenges. Um,
Yeah, because just the elation and how great you feel about it and stuff just
oh
overtakes all
yeah,
that.
it was just so great. At one point, we lost our Airbnbs we were staying in.
Oh,
The
okay. That's not
the
good.
person who owned them had booked them out to other people, and it kind of cut our stays
Oh,
at these places in half. So we had to move in the middle of everything as well.
okay.
So
Yeah, that'll
that
definitely throw a wrench in for sure.
yeah, I mean, you're always going to get curveballs during the production of a
Absolutely.
low budget film, especially
Yeah.
comparing it to Renfield, which was for Universal Studios,
That's right.
and
You were in
I was on
Renfield.
location for
Great.
10 days, and I had 3 scenes that became one line. We won't go
Yeah.
into that, but it's very different. When you've got budget, there is somebody else on the scene being production manager, taking care of everything. All you have to think about is your role.
Yeah.
But this kind of stuff was having an effect on David and Charlie, because they were producing,
Yeah.
co-producing. um you're gonna get these things, you know
Oh, absolutely. I don't think there's ever been a film shot with no hiccups at all. Like it never, it's just like you said, it happens all the time. It's about having the people involved that can handle it and know, all right,
exactly.
this happened. All right, what can we do? All right, we can do this. All right, that didn't work out ideas to get it back on track and make it not so big of a thing that it could have been. And not everybody can do that. I mean, that definitely takes a lot of talent and a special mind that you can, stay cool under the pressure if things like that arise.
Sure.
Like I said, this is your passion project you just finished now and stuff. This is what I wanted to talk about, focus on. But
Sure.
I mean, if we were to get into other stuff, it would go on. So I mean,
Forever.
if you'd
I
want to come on
understand.
sometime in the future, I mean, that would work.
Sure.
That would be great. If
Sure.
yeah, because I know you got like 5 minutes or so. Um, or if you got to leave, just like I said, tell me fuck off. I gotta go. I'm a New Yorker. I can handle it.
I figure I'll give it another. I've got to take care of some things before I leave the house. But
Yeah, whatever you got to
yeah,
do.
hit me with another couple of questions, and then we'll be done. And I'll leave it to the rest of the casting and the guys.
Okay. The rest I was gonna, I
Yeah.
guess one good question I was gonna ask was, like, how did they reach out to you? How did you get involved in this? Did they come to you and say, we want you, Caroline, in this role. We want you in this
Well, my
film.
friend, who's a producer here in LA, who was acquainted with Charlie at the time, um,
Okay.
he was talking to Charlie and he mentioned that he was a friend of mine, and Charlie had said, "Oh, I would love it if she could be in this movie," and had him send me the script, and from the jump, I was in.
Yeah. Just as soon as you
I
read it,
love the
like,
material. It can be tough to make a good film that's low budget,
oh,
but
sure.
if everybody is really in there and dedicated and absolutely into it,
Mhm.
um, you know, uh,
Yeah, oh, it's so true. I
everything
mean,
works out.
and major production, major budget feature films. You have a whole big cast and crew and stuff, and if
You've
they're
got an
not
army.
all into it and stuff like that, then it's gonna show. It's gonna show that lack of enthusiasm, or the feelings they have towards it, and maybe not everybody, but some, and that'll show through. But when you have a smaller budgeted film and everybody's into it, and they're so happy to be a part of it, that shows more than anything. That's something you
Yeah.
can't fake in a film.
No. And you're doing
Like,
it for the love of it.
yeah,
And
exactly. Like, you can't
if
fake
you're an
passion.
actor, if you're an actor especially, you've always been an actor for the love of being an actor. And whatever challenges come your way, you find a way through it, you know?
Yeah.
You
I mean,
support your director
yeah.
supports you, you know?
And yeah, so I was just gonna say, that they have your back too. You have their back. It's a family. I mean, just like in our YouTube horror community, well, like it's a little family, and that extends out into the whole horror genre. Because then I have all the guests that I've had on, including yourself. I'm blessed to have you guys come on and talking to all these people that I've grew up watching these movies. Then you start seeing how you guys are all just a family too. You're all friendly with each other. You guys all know each other, work together and stuff. So I mean, there's so much love and passion in the horror genre, which I
Yeah.
feel it gets a bad name sometimes from people who aren't into horror, because they think, oh, horror fans, all the blood and guts, wacko people. The horror community is one of the most peaceful, loving communities ever.
Well, and plus, let's face it, they can paper over their failures in the studio
Mhm.
system because we're the ones who are ringing the bucks.
Yeah,
And,
absolutely.
you know, I
I mean,
think
look
that's a
look at the
wonderful thing.
strike. Look at the writer
I didn't
strike.
think I would stay in the game long enough for a turnaround like that to happen, because horror actors and people in horror were usually treated like a trailer park.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
starting to change and turn around a little bit, and I'm
Oh,
glad.
you could see it. You can definitely, especially with all the independent movies that have been, like we were talking earlier about, like the Terrifier series, and a lot of
Who
independent
expected
film.
that?
Right. I didn't. I saw All Hallows Eve when it came out in 2013, and I loved it then. And I said, but you didn't. That's a different. It's an anthology. It's not a full-on slasher film like the Terrifier films. But then once the first Terrifier came out, I said, this is going to get big. I can feel that. Then when two got into theaters, I said, oh my God, like, how that's amazing. I don't know how that people are putting it in theaters, but you see that with a lot of indie horror nowadays. And I'm glad that you were able to be part of this great film. That I had a really great time watching this, and I think a lot of people will enjoy this when it comes out on Friday.
I am
And
so glad you liked it.
oh no,
And I'm
I
looking
think it's a
forward to
great time.
Friday. We're going to
Yeah,
pump it with a trumpet.
they,
JT,
that's
thank you
great.
so much for having me on the show. I
It's
truly appreciate it.
it's
And
all the pleasure is all mine for sure.
tell everybody I said hi. And,
Absolutely.
hopefully we will, you know, maybe have a few more interviews or something. You
Yeah,
never know.
if you ever want to come back on and talk anything else or future projects, I'm fine with talking future stuff. And like, I'm not one of those people that's like, I gotta talk about the classics and stuff. I've been doing my channel 2.5 years. I do long reviews. I mean, like 30, 40, 50-minute deep dives and stuff, dissecting every little thing in the movie, every scene.
Sure.
And just it's almost therapeutic, just being able to talk, and get thoughts
Well,
out, go on a little tangents. But I've covered
If you
over
love
1,100
movies, you love
movies.
movies, and it's the thing you like to talk
Exactly.
about the most. I do.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
the same way.
abs absolutely. But yeah, thank you so much, and I know you're a limited
Thank
time, but
you.
I will tell them that you said hi, and this is the great Caroline Williams, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you
Of
so much.
course.